Hi there, this next video is going to be an overview of posts. So again, there are two types of content in WordPress that we're going to be working with. One is pages, which are static web pages that we create that don't necessarily change too often, such as like a contact me or about me page or about us. Posts are where your published content that you're going to be creating for the content of your site will be created. So this is typically going to be your blog posts or your news articles, things like that. So it's very similar to pages. You'll have a list of all of the posts available. Now, obviously, if you have a very large site, this will be a very long list, and they have options here where you can choose particular dates. You could choose particular categories, and then you can filter and apply that. You'll see up here there's a bulk actions, there's a edit, move to trash. I think in terms of bulk actions, moving to trash might be good. So like if there were a couple that I wanted to choose to move to the trash, I could select that and click apply. Okay, the other thing you'll notice is there's this tiny little link tab thing here, which will list all the different statuses. So if you've got things that are waiting to be pending review, or if you have things in draft, you have things in publish, you can kind of filter through the posts that way. You'll notice here that by default you have author, a categories list, tags, comments with a total number, how many comments, and when the item was published. Now let me show you one new option here. There is a drop-down menu called Screen Options available on several pages, and this will say, hey, what do you want to see? What do you want to see on this page? So this gives you some customization here. So if you don't care about tags, you can uncheck tags. If you don't care about the author, because you're the only author, you can uncheck author, and that will change what you're seeing in your content. You can click apply, and then now you'll see you just have these three items instead of those ones as well. Okay, you also have a search box up here in case you're trying to find a particular post that you can't find, I guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and click add new, and let's create a second post here. And again, I'm just going to use some fake stuff here. I'm going to have my heading 1 because every web page should have a heading 1. Now let's take a look at some options here. So similar to the pages, we have the visual and the text box. The text box is a more coding style. It does not put p tags or paragraph tags around the paragraphs, but you'll see that everything else is here. H1 strong for my heading. You can always, if I wanted to highlight something and make it bold, I can do that through here. So whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable coding in HTML, you might want to work in the text tab. If you're more comfortable using like a word processor type system, then you can use the visual. Okay, so these little icons all do separate things. Your alignment, block quote is kind of like an indentation. Numbered list, bullet list, italics, bold, and then please definitely use your paragraphs and different headings. Pre-formatted would be for like code if you want to put code in here. Okay, so this is all great. We've got our publish box here with the same information as status, draft, pending review, or publish. As soon as we publish it, it will allow us to change it to publish. We've got visibility of public, password protected, or private, and then we have our options to publish immediately or to schedule our publish date at some other time. I also have an option here to move to trash. So if you want to delete this, you can just click move to trash and it will automatically take care of that for you. All right, down here in format, this is what kind of content is this going to be? Is this a particular item that we're, going to have in our in the side? Is this an image, video, etc.? So let's just see what this would be. If I select a side and I put it as web portfolio and I click preview, let's see what that looks like. Okay, that doesn't necessarily look any different than a regular article. Okay, maybe that is just for a particular theme element. So I'm just going to keep it at standard, which again, I don't think is going to change much here. Yep, looks exactly the same. And now again, in screen options, we can include other things that we want on here. So right now you see that I just have categories. I don't have tags. So if tags are something you want to have on your page, you can click tags and it will show up here. And then you can add tags if you want to be able to have an excerpt. So a lot of times people like to have just like the first paragraph of their blog post as an excerpt, and then you can use them in kind of like your blog summary page, or kind of use it to advertise this. You can also include that. We also have the option for discussion, which means whether you allow comments or trackbacks and pingbacks on this page. So take a look at everything that you could do here and play around with it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this draft, but before we publish, I want to put your attention on this permalink. So you'll notice that it has my website URL, very long, and then if you notice right here, this is the date, and then I have web portfolio. So they're grabbing that from my title, which is great, but I don't necessarily want the date in there, because what happens when I come in here and I change the date, because I update it. So if I was to come in here, like let's say I want this date to be March. Okay, and I'm going to save it. Now you'll notice as I've changed this, it's still not published, but now the date has been changed to 3/8/2018. So here's what happens if I share this blog post on my social media. It's going to use this URL with the date in it. So there's a couple of reasons why I don't like the date. Number one, it kind of puts like a screams, oh, this is out of date, or this is old content, or something like that. So if I come in and edit it and I update the date to something new, what's going to happen is that other people that have the old URL will now come to the web page, and then my WordPress site smartly will redirect them to the new URL, but that creates a lot of extra work for the system. So there's a way that we can work on this without having to have the date, and that is by going into settings, permalinks. So I'm going to go to settings, permalinks, and we're going to change how the permalink is created. So right now you'll see day and name. I don't want the day. I don't want the month. I don't want numeric, because this is not good for SEO purposes. I want the name of the post. Okay, so this is out of all of these choices, this one is the best. You can also make a custom structure. So a lot of people like to do like category and then post name. So this would be an option as well. So if you want to create something like this, that's great. But at the very least, choose the post name. Okay, and save your changes. And now let's go back to our posts. And let's take a look at the web portfolio one that I was doing. And now you'll notice that my permalink is just my URL /web portfolio. Okay, so This is much more SEO friendly, search engine optimization friendly, because the name of my article is also seen in my URL. Okay, so that gives us extra credit, I guess, with Google and the other search engines, that this URL actually relates to the content that we're talking about. So definitely update your permalinks before you start publishing your content. And then now once I publish it, I have selected that this is my web portfolio. So let's go ahead and take a look at my home page here. So now you'll see that I have my categories for graphic design and my web portfolio. Here they are. I would need to add the web portfolio category to my navigation menu by going to Appearance, Menus, and then doing the same thing for this one that I did for my graphic design category. Okay, great. Thanks.